Welcome to all. Welcome to the first virtual listening session held by members of the Board of County Commissioners. I can see that we've got already 50 attendees on the line, and that number is going up. So there will be more people, already 52. So there we go. I'm Dylan Blaylock with Clackamas County's Public and Government Affairs Department, and I'll be coordinating the public comments for today's meeting. If any attendees would like to provide a comment, you will be prompted to do so in a few minutes by me, by utilizing your raise hand feature on Zoom. Your raise hand button is on the Zoom bar. That's at the top or bottom, depending on your device. Today's topic is local business and economic development in the midst and wake of the coronavirus pandemic. We have Clackamas County Commissioners Paul Savas and Martha Schrader joining us today, as well as County Staffer Cindy Moore from our Economic Development Division. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Commissioner Martha Schrader for any opening comments that she would like to make. Commissioner Schrader.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Commissioner Savas. Thank you for being here with me today as my close friend and colleague. We are really in unprecedented times at this point in time, and we have prioritized as your county commission, staying directly in touch with our residents and stakeholders. We're very lucky and happy that we have the technology to do so. Last week, we had our first completely virtual business meeting over Zoom. And I'm going to start by inviting you to those sessions, which are always open to the public for comment. And you can find out more about that by visiting our webpage on www.clackamas.us. To stay as connected as possible with our citizens and constituents, we are holding today what is going to be one of the first of many of our listening sessions. Today's topic is local business and economic development. And we are here to listen to you. We want to know what your concerns are in facing a possible economic downturn as a result of the pandemic. How are you adapting to business closures? And we would like to hear your opinions, your personal experiences, and your hopes or worries as it comes to business and economic development. Then we will bring this information back to the full board of county commissioners. Cindy Moore from the county's Economic Development Division is also joining us today. Not only will we take comments, but we have Cindy's expertise. So if she needs to help chime in to answer questions, she can do so. I like to think that both Paul and I are very connected with the business community. I just got off a meeting prior to this one with our Clackamas Workforce Partnership. And on a personal note, I hope you are all well and safe. And I hope that, and I know actually we will get through this together. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Savas.
Yep. Well, thank you for all joining in, everyone, and thank you, Commissioner Schrader, for the introduction and the handoff here. I won't repeat a lot of what Commissioner Schrader said, but it is extraordinary times, and we went from a very, very hot economy into a sudden pause. And as someone who's been a small business owner my entire life, virtually, I have a pretty good understanding of the impacts, but every business and every story is different. And as we've laid this program out today, we're here to listen, not so much talk. And we'll try to answer the questions as best we can, even though we'll actually be doing more listening. And we're actually going to take your responses and your comments and perhaps set up a frequently asked questions so we know how to respond and we know what to do and how to act. So next week, or next Thursday, or this coming Thursday, Commissioners Fisher and Commissioner Humberston will be doing a listening session just like this that relates to housing and sheltering concerns. So you can join at 2 o'clock on April 2nd, this coming Thursday, for that. Let's see if I got anything else here. I guess I'll just stop there. I do want to just make one other comment, and that is that in these difficult times, I've been very impressed with our medical care professionals, people who actually produce the food, deliver the food, stock the shelves, and trying to keep, the bare essentials going. I mean, they are really putting themselves more in the line of fire, so to speak. And I want to just recognize their contribution. We're not going to be able to do this if we can't pull together and work together as a community, as a team. So with that, I'll turn it over back to Dylan.
All right, thanks very much, Commissioner Savas, and thanks very much, Commissioner Schrader. So, and with that, we're going to get started with comments from the public. Again, if any attendees would like to provide a comment, an experience, an opinion, your thoughts on economic development and business right now with what's going on with coronavirus, you can do so now by going and utilizing the raise hand feature on Zoom. For attendees on both PCs and iPads or whatever, you have a raise hand button on the Zoom bar that's at the top or bottom, depending on your device. And when I call on you, we will go ahead and shift you over. I'll let you know when it's time to speak, and you can go ahead and turn on your microphones when we do. And you can please start by providing your name and area of residence. So with that, I saw a couple hands go up to start. But, oh, I think they put them down. Looking for anybody who would like to go ahead and give a comment about anything going on right now involving economic and business development in Clackamas County. Okay. So now I see that we have two. There we go. So first, I'm going to go to Jay Graham, and just bear with me for a second. Okay, and Jay Graham, you are on now. If you could please provide your name and your area of residence, and then you can go ahead and make your comment.
Sure, thank you so much. James Graham, Economic Development Manager, Oregon City. And it is a pleasure to be with you all on this very unusual situation. But my comment and question is, Clackamas County is a very diversified economy. And everything is shut down, as you know, just about everything. And as we come out of this gradually, and I think it will be gradually, some thought has to be made, has to be given as to what strategies we will implement individually as cities and towns, but also what strategies that we'll implement together in unison to help our county businesses get back on their feet. Because as the economy unveils or unwinds from this horrible virus, we will be most likely walking and hopefully get up to a good run like we had before, but certainly will be a different type of economy. So I guess the question is really, or the comment is, some thought has to be given to some type of strategy for the entire county as a unit, and of course for the individual cities and towns.
All right, thank you, Mr. Graham. Did you want to say something, Commissioner Savas?
Yeah, I just realized that my mic was on, so I thought I was on the mute button. I just want to just say, again, congratulations, Jay, on the new position with Oregon City. It was a pleasure to meet you here just a few weeks ago, and I don't think any of us could have predicted we'd be in the situation we are today. I don't necessarily have, per se, a direct response, but I do agree. I think workforce will be a big part of that. Maybe Martha would want to speak to that a little bit, and Cindy as well. But, I'm very concerned. It's always hard to get good employees and retain them. And if this is short-lived and this is over in a matter of a month or two or three, that may be less of a concern. But in the event that it goes longer, I would be also too concerned. But I know the supply chain is going to be critical for everyone, and every industry is different. So I'm hoping maybe with our business alliances and our chambers of commerce, we could work on some kind of solution and bring them into the loop as well. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, just let me add that I do think it's going to change dramatically how we have done business in the past. Even so now, I mean, virtual communication, virtual shopping is probably exploding at this point. I think that the answer to how it's going to change and how we're going to frame that change is really going to have to be a collaborative effort between our workforce specialists as well as our chambers. That includes every chamber in the county, North Clackamas, Oregon City, Malala, Sandy, and it's really going to have to, I would suspect when this is over, we'll have to do an evaluation of where we are, and then we'll have to do a convening so we can co-solve the problem. At this point, everything is unknown. This is kind of an unprecedented time that we've been dealing with. I don't know if Cindy wants to add something. I would sure like to hear your thoughts. Okay.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to comment. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I appreciate the question, James, and I think what I would like to share on that front is I want to make sure that everybody knows that the economic development practitioners, be it countywide, region-wide, statewide, there are platforms that we are all communicating and sharing best practices, and that includes our partners in the workforce realm as well, and along with our chambers of commerce. So while there may not be right now a set strategy, and I think if we're kind of building it as we go countywide, from the economic development and business response perspective, I'm very proud of the work that's being done on the ground, how everybody's working together and trying to make sure that we get this plethora of information and resources out on the ground as quickly as possible.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We have some more hands raised, but I also wanted to say that we have a total of 11 phone-in callers. And so if you are a call-in listener and you want to raise your hand to let me know that you would like to make a comment, please hit *9. Again, for call-in participants only, please hit *9. But we're going to go to another individual, Andre Chernyshov. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. My apologies, but let's go ahead and bring Andre over. Andre, if you can go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go. Please give your name, your area of residence, and you are on.
Hi, my name is Andre Chernyshov. I live in Canby and own a small business, not in Clackamas County, but neighboring Yamhill County. I've got 9 employees. And we're trying to get some questions answered in regards to the small business loan, and want to take advantage of that, but are not sure if it's worthwhile to take the risk to take the loan, and the chance that it may not be forgivable. So, you know, our workload is fairly steady, but we probably see maybe a 75% or 25% decrease in workload, and we want to keep our employees fully employed, but weren't sure if we were to take out the loan and keep everyone fully employed up through June, as my understanding is when the stimulus would end, and then if we don't have enough work to keep them fully employed after that, how would that work out, and would the loan still be forgivable, and would the loan only be forgivable for the portion of hours where the employees have a reduced workload, or would it be for the full amount? Or I guess what are some of the details regarding that?
Okay, thank you very much. I will add, before I ask commissioners and Cindy if they want to chime in, that Andre, over chat very quickly, we just got a message from the Canby Area Chamber, and they have offered to answer some of your questions to you directly if you want to go ahead and get in touch with them. Commissioners or Cindy, would anyone like to respond to that? We do have, you're free to, we just also have 4 people with hands raised, but it looks like we have time.
I just want to remind everyone. Go ahead, Martha.
No, you go ahead, Paul.
I just want to remind everyone that we have staff that are taking notes, and so everything that's being asked, if we don't have the answer, we are going to find a way to get back to you. So I'm assuming that you're leaving some contact information somehow. So maybe for every caller, that might be something we consider. I don't know how we're going to respond back, but I do know that's not really necessarily a common question, but it's a question I've heard a couple times over already. I don't have any details, but I just want to just remind everyone that we will get back and provide those answers.
And I do have a question. So you're talking about loans from the federal stimulus package?
Yes, that's in regards to the CARES Act that was passed by the federal government.
Okay.
That's an excellent thing. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner
With
Schrader.
that piece of information, we can take a look at that and get, as I said, either work directly with you or with the Canby Chamber. And again, Cindy, do you have any particular information on that in general? The CARES Act and the loan? Yeah.
Sure. I would also just say that we are tracking that closely as well, as far as what the requirements are, the process for applying, and what the terms would be. I think the offer from the Canby Chamber is awesome. The chambers are a great contact. I might also encourage you to connect up with the Clackamas Small Business Development Center. Our team had a conversation with Rob Campbell, their executive director, earlier today, and we'll be making sure that their assistance programs, as far as how to facilitate the SBA programs, are available as well.
Okay.
Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, Cindy. Cindy, I'm going to, unless you think it's right to give out the 4biz or whatever email address for that, I can give out my email address in the chat. Would you rather I give out the 4biz for follow-up questions from people?
The 4biz question would be, or the 4biz inbox would be great. We're monitoring that.
Okay, great. I will go ahead and get that. Good suggestion, Commissioner Savas. I will go ahead and get that email address in the chat for people who have follow-up questions and wish to be contacted after. So, great. Thank you very much, Andre. And let's see, the next person up is going to be Laura Edmonds. Laura, you are of course, you are going, I've unmuted you. If you, Laura, could go ahead and unmute yourself as well. I saw you had your hand raised. I'll try to unmute you again. There we go. And Laura, you are on with the commissioners. Oh, Laura, I don't think we can hear you. If I see that you are unmuted, but we have not, I cannot hear anything. Laura, I'm going to put you back on hold for a bit here. Not sure what's going on. It might be a microphone issue on your end. So let me go ahead and say what you're talking. And okay, we're going to go next to, we have a phone call. So I don't have the name for it, but the number starts with 503-654. So 654, and I'm going to go ahead and bring you in. So if you're on the phone with 503-654, you can go ahead and start talking now.
Are you there? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay, there we go.
Great.
Hi, guys. Okay, so thanks. No, I had to dial in my computer. Well, all two of my computers on my desktop, neither one of them have speakers. So real quick, and I typed in a note. So just real fast, a lot of conversations going back and forth, and I mentioned it on the last call with Bridget and those guys. With the updates to the version 3 of the CARES Act just coming out on Friday, we were only just able to have our first call with the NFIB on Monday morning to get further clarity on these loans, which was a fantastic call. So we're supposed to be getting that link today, was supposed to come through today, and that actually is a recording from that conference call, plus we have a packet of information. So to the fellow in Canby, it's a fantastic piece. Also on Thursday, we're hosting a call with SBA and the SBDC, Rob Campbell. So Marty from SBA and Rob Campbell from SBDC. And that call's Thursday at 10 a.m. It's being hosted by the Oregon State Chamber. So we're going to be promoting that out. So Kyle and Canby should be getting that as well to share. But that way we can have robust conversations on these loans. It is just becoming clearer with us what is available to companies and what hasn't, what isn't. But as I mentioned on the previous call, we don't know what the gaps are going to be right now, because small businesses, if they can't afford some of these loans, even though it's at maybe a 4% for the economic disaster loan, if they don't have the money right now or money coming in, they can't afford another loan anyways. And so I think we're going to be seeing that there's some businesses that are going to have those gaps. And when we start to see that, that's when we're going to have a conversation to figure out if there's other resources available to help them out. So this is just, it's so fluid and it's continuously moving right now that, and people are they're scurrying right now to apply for these loans, but they're also trying to analyze the impact. So I think it's just trying to, as we are walking through these processes with them, on phone calls with some of the businesses trying to answer their questions, there's still a few unknowns. And one of the biggest concerns, though, that we've been talking about is the plan to go back into operations after this is over. Because if they're closed right now, there's no income coming in. How are they going to afford to restaff? How are they going to invest in what's needed to actually get back up to speed? And so if they've got no money coming in, they're trying to survive on their savings and the assets they have, they're going to drain that and they're going to bleed their own company dry until they can actually reopen. So a lot of concerns right there, a lot of panic going on about it. And then the fear is that a great many of the small businesses won't even reopen their doors, because the lending they're going to need then is what's going to be just as important. I hope that helps.
And to be clear, this is caller. You are, I take it, is this Laura?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I assumed it. Yeah, Laura Edmonds, North Clackamas Chamber of Commerce.
Right. Thank you very much. We got you this way. Commissioners, would either of you like to respond?
Yeah, Laura, could you give us the information? So if it's Thursday at 10, we have our business meeting, but we could make sure that Cindy and other staff members are listening in so they can brief us.
Of course.
So
I'll be happy.
you can get,
yeah.
Okay, great, because I think it's going to be important for us to be kept in the loop with that. So thank you.
Okay, I will. And Cindy, did you dial into the NFIB call on Monday? I saw you shaking your head a little bit.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself there. No, I was not able to get on that specific call.
Okay, so that was recorded, and like I said, we're supposed to be getting a link for the recording, but I'll go ahead and email you, and then please share it with everybody else on the call. I'll email you the packet of information, because just some of the content in the packet alone was really, really helpful. It cleared up some of the loan questions that people are having right now.
That'd be great. Thank you. It's much appreciated. And it's really nice that most of these calls are being recorded too, so that we can circle back on them. So yeah, that's great.
It's very helpful.
All right, thank you very much, Laura. Appreciate that. I'll go ahead and remind people, if attendees would like to provide a comment, you can do so by utilizing the raise hand feature on Zoom. For attendees on both PCs and iPads, you have the raise hand button on the Zoom bar. That's at the top or bottom, depending on your device. So please go ahead and turn on your microphone when you're prompted, and start by providing your name and area of residence when we get to you. For anybody who is on the phone and you want to give a comment, please hit *9 to raise your hand, and then I will go ahead and call on you when appropriate. So we have another comment from, I'm not going to read the whole number, but it is a 1971201 number. So let me bring that person in. And if this person, the 971201, could start with your name and your area, and then you are on with the commissioners.
Good afternoon. This is David Greene. I'm the Oregon City and Clackamas County manager for Citizens Bank. Actually live down in Marion County, but we're obviously having a lot of direct conversations with our clients about the impact of the pandemic is having on them, and trying to forecast what type of payment deferrals or what type of accommodations that we're making to kind of help them get through the next 3 to 6 months. One of the best pieces that we've seen so far is a 4-page flyer that came from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. It's a U.S. Chamber of Commerce CARE Act guide. There's a lot of information out there, and it's kind of overwhelming. But this at least kind of has kind of a 3-step process that if you're a business and you think you want to get prepared for this, kind of how to do that, because that's really all you can do right now. The changes in the CARE Act simply modified the Small Business Act under the Section 7A, where a lot of the Small Business Administration's loan programs are held. But right now, the SBA has to go and create all of the procedures for this loan program from scratch, and that is simply not done yet. So there are no SBA lenders, there's no banks out there that can originate this loan yet, even though the time frame involved essentially started a month ago. This is for expenses from March 1st to June 30th of this year. So I highly recommend that either you get this. A lot of banks are sending these out to their clients. It's available on the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I believe the Oregon City Chamber may have forwarded it out to its membership as well, and Laura's may have as well. But the key is going to be getting ready with the certification statements you'll need, and going in and getting the detailed history of specific expenditures around payrolls, leases, mortgage payments on the business, and various other things, the utility payments. You have to total those up for last year, create a monthly average, multiply it times the 4 months of coverage, just to generate the eligible loan amount. And then there'll be an entirely different calculation that they have not invented yet, unfortunately, about what portion might be forgivable at the end of that period of through June 30th. And there are eligibility requirements for that, as well as whether or not your FTE changed, there may be a percentage reduction, so it may be only partially forgivable. Highly recommend that small businesses get access to that and at least get ready so that they can make an application with their bank. And it looks like almost any bank, even ones that don't typically do much SBA lending, will in fact be eligible to originate these loans for their customers.
All right. Thanks very much for that, commissioners. Would you like to respond, or are we okay? Okay. Okay. So one thing is that some people are going ahead and giving questions or comments via the chat feature. It's preferable to go ahead and ask it live, but if you don't want to, we will do it this way too. This one comes from Mayor Tammy Stemple of Gladstone. Hi, and thanks for hosting the event. The question I hear most often from our local businesses is how soon can they expect to see relief? So that is what Mayor Stemple has gone ahead and brought in. Would anyone like to respond to that? Either Commissioner Schrader or Savas or Cindy?
To be perfectly honest, I don't think we even have a time frame yet. My fear is that this hasn't peaked. What I'm hearing from the medical community, they're not going to anticipate a peak until the end of April, beginning of May. So I think it's up in the air how soon they can expect the relief. Again, it seems to be dependent on the processes that are not under our direct control as commissioners. It seems to be the Small Business Association. And again, I really appreciate what Dan had to say, because I think that he's outlined pretty much that they're working on it. And I don't even know if we can answer that at this time. But I welcome any other comments from Paul or Cindy on that.
Well, I would just add that, we're just hopeful that we see a peak here in the next 30 to 45 days. And we see the downside of that coming. Just today, I think we had 604, 606 cases in Clackamas, or not in Clackamas, but in Oregon. And today it's 690. So it went up by about 80 some odd. So we're still climbing, and we're climbing at an increasing number every day. And when that number starts to decline, we'll have a better idea. but it's very difficult with all this uncertainty, and it's got to be driving a lot of people crazy. So I sympathize with that.
Okay, I'd like to go ahead and say again, if any attendees would like to provide a comment, you can do so by utilizing the raise hand feature, and we will get to you. I have one comment that I'll bring in from Julia. Julia, give me a second, and you need to go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go, and go ahead and provide your comment or question to the Clackamas County Commissioners.
Oh, good afternoon, Commissioners. Thanks for hosting this call today. My name is Julia Fowler, and I own a coffee shop in Lake Oswego. And I have two questions. First, I was wondering, there's been talk in other states. I'm wondering if there's been any talk here about delaying the upcoming minimum wage increase that's coming in a couple months. Additionally, I wanted to ask, is there been any talk about any efforts to pause increases in unemployment insurance rates? You know, a lot of employers like myself have unexpectedly laid off 100% of our staff. And so we can expect that, you know, coming up in the near future, our rates would be increased by these high number of layoffs. And I'm wondering if there's any talk about pausing increases in unemployment insurance tax.
That's a good point. And I do know that that's something we all we want to keep our percentage or our risk level down for unemployment insurance. So I would hope, and we will lobby and ask to see if we can't have that waived as a result of this crisis. We shouldn't be burdened with that. Our businesses shouldn't be burdened because of this crisis and have their unemployment insurance rates go up because of the sudden pause or the sudden drop in employment. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. That's something that I know I'll pursue and look at to see if we can't get that waived.
And Commissioner Savas, both of us, actually all the commissioners, Commissioner Bernard and I had a conversation with our state legislative delegation. Also, we're continuing to have conversations with our federal delegation. So if these are the kinds of issues that we need to legislate and get relief from, then we can certainly commit to making, contacting those folks who are making those kinds of decisions to tell them what it means to our small businesses.
All right. Thanks very much for that, Julia. The next question is going to come from Jordan Vance. So Jordan Vance, if you could unmute yourself. I'll try to, there we go. Jordan, you are on with the commissioners.
Hi there, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. Hi, my name is Jordan Vance. I'm the Economic Development Manager for the City of Wilsonville. We've heard from a few folks about the dire need for relief capital right now for small businesses. A handful of cities in the region have launched grant assistance programs to offer immediate relief to small businesses in grants ranging from $2,000 to $10,000. Given the uncertainty on timing to deploy federal dollars, is the county considering offering a program like this either on its own or in partnership with local jurisdictions?
No, we haven't discussed that as a board, but I can guarantee that we can bring that up. We do have a small grants program. Normally it's gone to food banks, things of that sort. But in order to make a change or to actually make that part of our portfolio with our cities, that's going to have to be a conversation with the other three commissioners, as well as our budget committee as we move through the budget cycle this go around. Paul, have you got anything to add about, because I think it's a good idea. It would certainly be something we could talk about and consider, but we have to make sure we have everybody on board.
We can look into that. I do know that we have very little in the way of resources. But if we can be a conduit with resources from the state or the federal government, we'll certainly look into that. But that's a good question, and good to hear from you, Jordan.
All right, thanks very much to Jordan for that. It seems actually, since it's a related question, I'll bring in one other one that we got via chat, commissioners, from Nina Carlson from Northwest Natural. Very related, especially bringing up the grants. Is the county's ECDev department, so Economic Development Division, coordinating a fund for local businesses to donate funds to be used as grants for local small businesses? So kind of along the same lines. Not sure if you want to respond to that, or if Cindy wants to respond to that, or anyone.
I can chime in on this one. Nina, thank you for the comment. That is not an approach that I've heard so far. So I can definitely take that back to our team and fold that into the conversation that the commissioners were having as a whole.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Cindy. Thank you for that. Let me see. We have a couple callers on the phone. Unfortunately, I cannot see your name or your number, but it is a phone caller who has gone ahead and hit *9. So if a caller has done that, if you could just go ahead and give me your name real quick.
I'm not sure if I'm the person.
You are. You are the person. So what is your name and your area you're calling from?
My name is Diane Mead, and I own a business in Lake Oswego. I am like so many people that are a single proprietor, single person business. I can't think of the proper term, but there's a term for all of us. And I have a pet care business. And my business normally is quite lucrative, helps support an associate who's an independent contractor with her own pet care business in Washington County. And also I am, through my business efforts, supporting adult family members who are ill with some pretty serious illnesses that are not contagious. And all of a sudden, my business, mid-February on, was decimated. Now, I don't have employees, but I certainly need help with resources. And I know there's a lot more of us out there in that same boat. What kinds of assistance and programs or information sources are available resource-wise for this kind of a situation? And I can't remember the term. Does anybody remember what the term is when you're that self-employed person?
Sole proprietor.
So it's sole proprietor, but there's something else too that I've heard recently.
Okay. Did anybody want to go ahead and comment on that, or?
Well, I just want to say hello to Diane because I'm very familiar with the business she runs, and as you know, you have actually helped take care of my dogs when I've needed the help. And I think that, again, we're going to have to take a look at what the chambers have pulled together in their information packets. And one of the reasons we're doing this today is so we can get these kinds of questions, so we can get the answers to you. And that's one of the reasons why Cindy is listening in as well, Cindy Moore from our economic development, because we don't know what we don't know yet. And if that is your big worry, we'll figure out how that information sits and how we can get you that information.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. I'll just go ahead and take that. We have 3 more people who would like to give comments. I'm going to go ahead and remind people, if you want to provide the comment, please use the raise hand feature that is on the Zoom bar. Could be at the top or the bottom of your device. I'm going to go to the other caller that we had, a phone caller who selected *9. Again, I'm sorry, I cannot see your name. But if you are on the phone and you selected *9, please go ahead and give your name now.
Yes, hi there. Yeah, this is Mark Meek, state representative, and I just want to let you know I'm monitoring and checking in, and I wanted to answer one of the questions. We are planning, we're working on a special session, a legislative special session to address some of the concerns that our coffee shop owner, sorry, it was Linda, I'm not sure, I can't remember. But one of the questions was about the not increasing or not working with the scheduled pay increase, I think in June or July, but there are no plans or nothing, no discussion that I'm aware of about that. So just want to give you a heads up. But one of the things we are looking at is for some work with our unemployment insurance ratings for employers that have had to either lay off due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we do have some legislative concepts in the works right now to give relief, and so that is something we are working on. But the reason I'm monitoring a lot of these calls is to make sure we have ideas and true issues that we need to try to resolve. So thank you all for your work on this.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Representative Meek, for calling in. The next call, or sorry, not a call, but the next person who I'm going to move over is, I think it's just NEC. So NEC is the moniker, the name that they have. I will unmute you. Oh, I think, there we go. And NEC, if you could go ahead and identify yourself in your area, and you are on with the commissioners.
Commissioners and Cindy, this is Nina Carlson, and it's a little bit of a follow-up to the conversation or the question I asked earlier. I just reached out to Columbia County as well regarding with the same ask, and they were going to apply to the Oregon Community Foundation for a little bit of administrative money to be able to set up a fund and administer grants to local businesses. The idea being you guys have a much better pulse on your local economies, your local businesses, the really small businesses. They would probably come to either their city or their county, and the thought being that they would feel more comfortable working through you than the large Oregon Community Foundation small business grant. So we really would like to see our counties do that so we can put the money that we've set aside to help small businesses to use in your communities.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. The chair there is Alex Tardif. He's a very close friend of mine. He serves on the Association of Oregon Counties Executive Committee. We serve together, and I think as soon as I get off this call, I'll give him a ring, because thank you for giving us that information. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much for that, Nina. Let me see, next we have that I'm going to bring over is Kyle Lang. So Kyle, if you could go ahead and unmute yourself, and you are on now. So go ahead and provide your comment.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So something that's kind of directly within, I think, the county's direct power and oversight and whatnot is that interface with private development and the county offices, and just making sure everybody understands the constraints of protecting your workers and whatnot, but maybe just kind of checking back and looking at processes within recording plats and surveys and those types of departments where development is taking place, because we have contractors and developers who, they're working off of construction loans, and any adverse delay in recordings and moving documents through those processes, right, comes at quite an expense at an inopportune time for them. So I would just throw it out there, being, direct oversight over that portion of the county, that you look there at possible improvements, kind of just survey folks who use those departments and make sure that needs are being met and things are happening in a timely manner.
Yeah, thank you for that, Kyle. That was one of our initial concerns when we made the declaration for the emergency here a few weeks ago. I had that very same concern. Our staff is being responsive. So we're doing any kind of workaround to make sure that we don't impede, economic development and the construction, and for the very reasons you just outlined. So thank you for bringing that forward.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kyle. The next person that I will go ahead and remind people to use the raise hand feature. I will also go ahead and remind anyone who is listening on the phone, because we have a total of 15 total phone call-in listeners right now. If you would like to raise your hand to let us know that you have a comment to make, you need to hit *9. Again, for anybody on the phone, that is *9. But for right now, I will go to the person whose name is simply Al. A-L. So Al, if you could go ahead and unmute yourself, and you are on with the commissioners. Are you there, Al? Maybe it's AI. No, I don't think we're hearing you if you are. So I will move you back over to the queue, and we will go ahead and try a call from the phone. On the phone. So if you were on the phone and you've hit *9, please go ahead and say your name.
Hi, this is Matt Lorenzen, Economic Development Manager from the City of Estacada.
Great, you are on with the commissioners.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity. I wanted to, I guess, just echo my friend Jordan Vance in Wilsonville, and just encourage the commissioners to consider what kind of creative ways we might be able to pool some funds in order to assist cities and small businesses with grant or other funding mechanisms that can augment what the federal government is going to be funneling out here in hopefully the very near future. So on top of echoing Jordan, I would say it's going to be interesting to see how the Beaverton and Hillsborough and Tualatin programs work out. I think those cities have allocated something like $250,000 and have just kind of said first come, first served, and handing out, as Jordan said, $2,000 to $10,000 in order to buoy these businesses. That sort of a broad approach, I think, is commendable, but at the same time, I wonder how effective it is when it gets so watered down between so many businesses getting such a small amount of funding. So I guess as you consider putting together some sort of program to help our Clackamas County businesses, I might recommend that that program be targeted towards the most vulnerable and the most crucial businesses, whether those be ones that are very, very small, or perhaps maybe the larger ones that employ higher numbers of people in the county and pay higher wages. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I guess all I'm trying to say is that if a program is offered and it's open to anyone, and the award amount is some tiny fraction of what their monthly operating expenses are, it may have a negligible impact. But if it's targeted and well designed, perhaps the impact will be greater. I guess I will leave it at that. Maybe one final thought. It's probably too difficult right now to move quickly to try and get funds on the street before the federal funds arrive. And so maybe this is the time now to be designing such a program that could piggyback on top of the federal programming, knowing that there may very well be gaps to be filled, or certain types of businesses that are not able to take full advantage of the forgivable aspect of the programs that the federal government is offering. So sorry, kind of a stream of consciousness there, but those are the things that are rolling around in my mind. Would just again encourage the commissioners to take a leadership role here and find ways to be helping these businesses. Thank you.
I think appreciate your comments, Matt. The more I hear and listening, the more I'm concerned of trying to get our arms around the scale of the need, and knowing that we have a lot of So small businesses are the backbone of our country, the backbone of our state and the county. And I think you did kind of outline, also or spell out the issue with the big business as well, with the larger employee base. But one thing that's really came clear, I've been compelled to say this for the last half an hour, is that we have our chambers that are listening today. We have our cities that are listening and our economic development managers. So I just want to point out the businesses that are on the phone, use them. Use if you're not a member of a chamber, become a member of the chamber, or at least call your chamber, your city, your economic development managers in those cities, and see what kind of assistance you can get, because they're going to be they're as close as this as we are, if not more so. So I would encourage that kind of feedback, and I'm not sure how whoever's going to be writing the rules, as Laura Edmonds spoke to earlier. That's a huge task to figure out the criteria and how to divvy out these dollars and put that again. But I think trying to understand the scale of the problem is going to be quite the feat. But thank you for your comments.
All right. Thank you very much for that. We've got a little less than 10 minutes left. So again, if anyone has a comment they would like to make, please utilize the raise hand feature on Zoom. And for those on the phone, you can hit *9 to let us know. I'm going to try Al one more time in allowing him to talk, but it might be better to know there's a question of monikers. Maybe you don't know your default moniker. This is a person whose email address is question of balance. So if there's a person out there who has a question of balance in their email address, you are on if you would like to go ahead and ask a question to commissioners or make a comment. Is anyone there? Nope. Shoot. All right. Well, we tried with that one. All right. Commissioners, I do not see another hand raised for now. We have 94 people who are attending right now. We got a high of 99 so far. So again, I'll put out one more call. If anyone would like to provide a comment to Commissioner Schrader or Commissioner Savas, now is please the time to do it. You can do that by utilizing the raise hand feature on Zoom, or again, *9 for the 14 phone call-in listeners that we have. Well, I do not see any up, and let me just check the, oh, there was one more comment just that came in via chat. It again is from Mayor Tammy Stemple. She said she apologizes for her question not being clear. People that she's talking to would like to know when businesses can expect to receive financial relief from both the federal and state programs. If anybody wanted to go ahead and address that. Okay, so we might not know. Oh, I've got one last caller on the line. So we'll go ahead and move over. Okay, caller, if you are on and you hit *9, if you could go ahead and give your name and the area of residence that you have, and you are on.
Hi, it's Matt again in Estacada. I was just going to take a stab at the question that's being asked. Is that okay?
Sure, yes.
Well, I'm not sure if this is implied by the question. I don't want to make too many assumptions, but it sounds like there may be some that are expecting someone to arrive with a parachute of money, but rather it's going to require a proactive involvement on the part of businesses in order to take advantage of the programs that are being offered. So they're going to have to get in there, make an application, request the funds, whether that's a forgivable loan or grant or combination of the two. So for businesses that may be waiting for someone to come and offer them relief, it's not how it's designed. They're going to have to take a proactive role and seek those funds. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks very much, Matt. Commissioners, I do not see any other hands raised. Would either of you like to just offer a last word or a parting word? Because I think we can go ahead and wrap this up after you do, unless I see something else.
I just well, I just wanted to just thank everyone for participating, and I ran my business in Clackamas County that I moved from Lane County, and so I've been in business for a majority of my life, 25 years here in Clackamas County. So I do understand when cash flow is cut short, how difficult that becomes. And I've always was able to manage through it, and manage through it with either having savings or never had to lay off anyone anyhow, which was, I was thankful. So I can understand and empathize with the struggles, and the uncertainty has got to be just a very difficult challenge for everyone involved here at this time. I would be inclined to the last caller. I'd be inclined, frankly, to apply for any assistance right now, because if there is a list or a waiting list, the higher up on the list you are, the better off. So I don't think that waiting, as Matt suggested, for something to fall into your lap is a good strategy. I would probably encourage people to engage as soon as they can. I know the banks, if I'm not mistaken, especially on SBA loans, can be very helpful as long as it. So I just want to close with that and thank everyone again for participating.
I'd like to thank our staff that's on the line today, Dylan, Cindy, and my colleague, Commissioner Savas, and all of you that took the time to call in. My right hand hurts because I've been taking copious notes. So I can get the information, and we can get information to the businesses. Again, we're going to bring this information, what we heard today, back to our other commissioners. And we will talk about ideas and strategies based on what your input has been. Again, I agree with Commissioner Savas. At this point in time, the best sites I have seen for specific information on grants, specific information on federal packages, has been the chambers themselves. I also know what it's like to run a business. So we ran a small farm, and I know that in the veterinary business, when things got slow, that we were paid last, but our employees were paid first. So I think we've all been through this, and just stay home, be safe. And I think this is that we continue to do these listening sessions and come back with some of the questions that you've asked today more fully answered. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Martha Schrader, and thank you to Commissioner Paul Savas. Appreciate your time today. I'd also like to thank Cindy Moore from the county's Economic Development Division for joining us as well. If you have not checked out the webpage for the Economic Development Division, you can check that out at clackamas.us/business. They are dedicated to helping our local businesses succeed and thrive, as grow a vibrant economy is one of the priorities, the 5 strategic priorities of the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners. If you have any other follow-up questions, you can go ahead and email them to 4, that is the number 4, biz, B-I-Z, at clackamas.us with your questions, as we referenced earlier. And this entire meeting will be archived and put up to YouTube probably by the end of the day. So for Dylan Blaylock with Clackamas County Public and Government Affairs, I want to thank everyone who joined in. Thanks very much. Again, as Commissioner Savas said, we have another listening session slated for this coming Thursday at 2 p.m. on sheltering issues. So thanks very much.